I'm here with Ian Dyer, assistant manager for Woking. Ian, a 2-0 loss. It was pretty even for the first 25 minutes or so, wasn't it? And in fact, we may even have just shaded it in terms of creativity and energy, and then games turn on such little things, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and they do, especially at this level. I think what we've tried to say to the lads in there is it's a real lesson about what the level's all about, and the teams that want to achieve things at the top half and in the top half of the league don't make mistakes like that, because ultimately those two mistakes have cost us the game. And like you said, we started the game well. I think probably, like you said, shaded it for the first half hour. It was always going to be a tight game. We talked about that a lot in the week. There are, when you look at the squad depth that they've got, they're a strong National League side that would expect to be up in the top 7 this year with the resources they've got. So we knew coming here it was going to be a tough game. But we also thought it was a game we could hurt them in, we could cause them problems, going the other way, especially if we could get the ball into wide areas. And I thought for half hour we did that. We moved the ball quite well. We got into some good positions. We've made the keeper make 2 or 3 saves in the first half. And yeah, I think we more than matched them. And obviously the goal was a disappointing moment for Joe. He's devastated in there. He's an honest lad. Held his hand up straight away, and it's a disappointing moment for him, and also been a very costly one for the team today. But I thought the boys showed plenty of spirit second half. Again, it became difficult. Chances, I thought, for both teams. There weren't many at both ends of the pitch. I think Mark Smith's only had really one save to make the one-on-one, other than the 2 goals, which he did really well. Other than that, it was a very, very tight game, and I think that's a frustration. We seem to have had 4 or 5 of these really tight games, especially in the last 8 or 9. And we've come out on the wrong side of them, and they're the details we need if we want to push on with this group, which we do. They're the details we need to iron out and iron out pretty quickly, because they're the things that are going to cost you. And I'm disappointed for the lads, because we've lost it in a manner which we had control over, and both goals were avoidable, and that's a frustrating thing for us today.
I mean, there aren't many. I mean, earlier on in the season there were shed loads of goals being scored all over the league, but we don't tend to win by more than 1 or 2, and we don't tend to lose by more than 1 or 2. So all our games are tight. And Solihull as well, looking at their record, they don't concede many. So once they got their noses in front, it was going to be uphill, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit, but we felt, even at 1-0 second half, the message was, let's come out second half. We wanted to try and press a bit hard at the pitch. We wanted to, pin them in, and we wanted to try and switch the ball a little bit better, which we didn't do as well as we should have done. I think that would have created more chances. But again, when you come, you come into these teams in the top 10, especially away from home, the games are going to be tight. One of the points we just made to the lads is we've got to be more comfortable when it's 0-0, and we've got to be comfortable in those moments and back ourselves just to defend, because sometimes a clean sheet is what you need to get a win, by scoring and getting one at the other end late on. But a clean sheet definitely gets you a point, and points are valuable. And I think that the one frustration for us this year is 4 or 5 of these games we've lost should have been draws based on the run of play, and we found a way to lose them by making mistakes. That's something we've got to learn if we want to push up the league in the second half of the season. We need to respect that sometimes we've just got to be solid, we've just got to be well organised behind the ball, and we don't make mistakes, and we get something out of the game. Because we spoke to their manager afterwards, for the most part it's a pretty even game in terms of everything else that we've seen today, but the frustration is we've lost, and it's not been a good week. We've had a poor little run at the moment, and the lads are desperate to turn it around. The boys are bitterly disappointed. I know the fans are frustrated as well, and we've got to try as hard as we can to spin it and get some positive momentum going into obviously a busy Christmas period.
Yeah, when you have a difficult run, it's almost like you have to physically dig yourself out of it, isn't it?
It shows characters. It shows that the characters come to the fore. And I thought the one thing I was pleased with the boys, especially second half, they didn't give up. No one hid. Everyone kept trying to do the right things, and it became frustrating because against a well organised team, it's difficult. It's difficult. That's why these teams are at the top end and have been doing it consistently for 3 or 4 years. With the resources they've got. They're tough games, and sometimes you've got to find a way to get a result by either good play or a little bit of luck, but you've got to stay in games. And the disappointment was after half an hour we were well in the game. We were more than in the game, and we found a way to give a goal away, which has put us on the back foot, like you say. And it's lessons we keep needing to learn, and we need to improve, and we need to improve them pretty quickly.
And not the best day to judge, but obviously had to ring the changes, and Jermaine came in. Lewis had his debut. Comments on them?
Yeah, I think. Listen, firstly, when you look at the players we're missing today, Effion, Ince, Kretschmar, and what they've been for us this year, I think that's three pretty big players to kind of come to a place like this without. So that's a frustration first and foremost. But no, I thought Jermaine came in. Listen, we've had Jermaine for a while, so we know exactly what we're getting. He's a top midfielder at this level. He's a very good player. I thought he was very calm on the ball. First half was probably more influential than he was second half when it got a bit stretched. But good passer, good engine, a strong lad as well. And I thought it was a solid debut. And Lewis as well. Yeah, he trained with us yesterday for the first time. Bright young kid. He's obviously scored a lot of goals in Bristol City's under 23 teams, and we thank them for getting it done as quick as they have. And where we are at the moment, we obviously need 4 strikers on the books, so we needed to reinforce in that area. We've been without George Oakley for a long time, and we needed to replace him. And I think again showed some really good signs today, and hopefully he will grow into it over the next week or two.
And another busy week, and then the Christmas programme looms. I mean, you've got Bournemouth next week, and then the trophy, and then it's game after game, isn't it?
Yeah,
so it's a busy month.
It is, but we're ready for it. We've got to be ready for it. We've got to be ready for it. We're hurting today. We're hurting today, and everyone's hurting, I'm sure. But it's a time to stick together. It's a real time to stick together as a club. I'd include the fan base in that. Stick with the lads, and we've got to stick together as a staff, and the players have got to do the same. And we've got to keep working hard, and we've got to work harder next week. We've got to make sure we prepare even better for that game, and we keep building on what we're trying to do, because that's the only way that you're going to turn a couple of poor results around, is by working harder and doing the basics on the training pitch. And we'll certainly make sure once we've had a day to clear our heads that we'll be fully focused on getting back in next week and gearing up for another really tough game.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ian. Safe journey home.
Cheers. Thanks, Nico. Cheers, mate.